Welcome back to the Glacier guys. My name's Ethan Halesha. I'm here with my co-host,
Joey Fernandez.
and we will be bringing you all of the sports information that's going on in the world right now for major sports. Let's get started. So, NFL free agency. This is big for the Bears, I'd say, because of the whole
Massive.
Carson Wentz situation going on.
Yeah. Reportedly, according to Adam Schefter, Carson Wentz prefers Indianapolis over Chicago. But personally, I don't really read too much into it because he doesn't really have much of a choice. I mean, if it's down to two teams, then what
That's
choice
true,
do we have?
and I didn't even see because I saw that he posted that, but where is he getting this information from? He hasn't. I feel like he hasn't come out and really said anything or made it. I mean, I guess somebody on his team could have said that he prefers going one way, but I haven't really seen any concrete evidence of that.
Yeah, I don't know. Like those insiders, like Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport, I don't know. I seriously don't know who tells them these things, but I feel like if one of them is reporting it, I believe it most of the time.
Honestly, same, yeah, because they're two of the most reputable people that get information about certain athletes. So
Yeah, exactly, and they wouldn't report it if they weren't confident in it. But I mean, they also reported that no team has offered a first-round pick for him yet.
I mean, yeah, Carson Wentz, I feel like he's definitely had a better career than a Mitch Trubisky, but I don't know, injuries have held him back, and
Definitely,
you said in the last episode, when he's healthy, he's a good quarterback, but
yeah,
I feel like that's the issue, and he definitely lost a lot of trust from his teammates,
no, yeah,
in the last year, just because of the whole Jalen Hurts thing. I mean, even Doug Peterson got fired for literally not wanting him.
he lost confidence in himself a little bit too. Also, I mean,
and it's funny because I think we saw that with Mitch at one point too.
yeah, I think that he's just the classic change of scenery guy. Who knows if it would work out? But I have a question for you. Would you trade 2 second-rounders for him?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Because regardless of our O-line and our offensive weapons, and I mean, we have good weapons, but
yeah.
we just need a new quarterback, we need something to change. We're stuck in a rut right now. 2 straight seasons of 8-8, I'd rather tank. I'd rather go 3-13, get a early first-round pick,
Yeah. I understand that. I mean, I saw an article this morning. It was a Bears mailbag by Brad Biggs, which is one of the biggest Bears insiders around. But the headline of the article was, should the Bears consider Alex Smith as an option for starting quarterback?
Hold on. I want to see, how old is Alex Smith? He's got to be
35, 36-ish,
Okay,
if I had to guess.
But check really quick.
Also, another part of the headline was, would Marcus Mariota be a good fit for the Bears?
No, this is just getting a little out of hand.
I mean, all options considered, I feel like Carson Wentz is a tier above those guys at least.
He's definitely the best realistic quarterback that we can get.
Yeah, of course.
Which is kind of sad to say, but it is what it is.
Well, yeah, I mean, if somehow Jerry Jones just finds a way to not get Dak, which is I see a 5% chance of that happening, that he would be a realistic option, I suppose. But
yeah,
I don't know.
That's a good point though, because I feel like the Cowboys they always find a way to mess things up,
Oh yeah, I mean, Jerry Jones just gets in his way every time. He gets in his own way every time. But I mean, they've been paying guys. They just throw money at everyone left and right.
Yeah, honestly. I mean, Dak's been wanting that deal though for how long now?
Yeah, I know. I mean, I don't know.
And that injury didn't help his case at all.
Yeah, I feel like at worst they franchise him though.
I don't think he'd be too happy, but he doesn't really have a choice. I mean, that's kind of what's going on with Allen Robinson too, but
yeah,
I feel like with Dak, just the contract and everything, it's going to happen on a much bigger scale.
Yeah, there was also the report yesterday about the Bears franchise tagging and maybe even trading Allen Robinson. Which,
yeah, I saw that.
I mean,
I feel like we need to keep him. We literally have our wide receiver one. He's on our team.
Yeah, I mean, if they're gonna trade him, why not just draft a receiver in the first or second round then? Depending,
that's true.
Saying that we don't trade any of our picks for a quarterback.
I'm trying to think. Are there any big time free agent wide receivers right now?
Yes, there's Kenny Galladay and Chris Godwin also, but Godwin's
likely to be franchise tagged, right?
That or Bruce Arians said at the parade, he's like, "You're not leaving." So I'd be surprised. But the Lions, I really could see them letting
Wait,
Kenny Galladay walk.
You said Kenny Galladay and who else?
Chris Godwin.
Chris Godwin. Okay.
Yeah, and Will Fuller also. So it's a good class.
Yeah. Yeah, Will Fuller's really good when he's healthy. That's another thing. He needs to figure out a way to stay healthy.
I don't see him as a number 1 guy though.
No, definitely not. He's definitely a tier below. He's
a good number 2 though, I think.
He's a good number 2. I guess you could put him in the same category as Chris Godwin, right?
Yeah, I'd put Godwin a little better than him, but I could see it. I could definitely see it.
I don't think Godwin to me is not a wide receiver 1. I don't think.
I'd say he's a low-end 1, very high-end 2.
Yeah.
It just depends on the situation.
And the system, I think that he's
in.
Yeah,
Definitely.
For sure. Yeah, Alex Smith is 36. Not to mention he almost lost his leg.
Yeah, I mean, he did a very serviceable job for a Washington football team that had a good system around him as far as, but he didn't have that many weapons, I guess, but he had a good defense, so all he had to do was just not screw the game up. Yeah. I mean, Scary Terry is a beast. On Antonio Gibson also, but they didn't really have anyone else
outside of that, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Wentz. I honestly don't really have a good prediction of where he's going to end up. I mean, it's kind of up in the air, I'd say right now. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, who knows? A mystery team may swoop in and see the prices and as high as they maybe thought it would be.
Yeah, can you imagine he just goes somewhere like randomly,
Miami or something? Yeah.
I mean that could be the case because Tua.
It just who knows? Because Miami's being really discreet with how they feel about Tua.
Yeah, exactly.
They coddled him all year. Maybe they just didn't think he was as good as he was supposed to be. I don't know.
Speaking of Miami, a lot of people were hoping that Fitzpatrick would come to the Bears. I mean, he's like 38 years old. It's not realistic.
But
it's like Brady. Okay, Brady goes to the Buccaneers at 42 or whatever, but he's literally the greatest athlete to ever play the game. So it's like a Ryan Fitzpatrick going to the Bears at his age, it just doesn't make sense. I mean, and he's not a good starting quarterback. I don't care.
What's the best outcome in that situation? 7-9, 8-8.
I mean, he might go. He'll throw for like 450 yards in 3 straight weeks, and then just fall off a cliff like he does every other season.
The fans thought that Mitch Trubisky was losing the Bears the games, but imagine Ryan Fitzpatrick going out there slinging it and throwing 4 interceptions, and the defense doesn't try even more.
Yeah, because that's clearly been a problem, but you can't blame it all on Mitch either. I mean, our offensive line has been horrendous the past few seasons, but I
think the fan base would think they have it good with they had it good with Mitch if we got Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, they'd be crying Mitch's name for him to come back. I definitely think we're moving on from Mitch, though. I don't see a situation where the two parties get together and figure something out. I can't see him in a Bears uniform next year.
Yeah, Bill Belichick's cooking up a contract for him right now.
You think so?
Very possibly could. I think he's better than Cam Newton, so I don't see why not.
What happened with Cam Newton, man? That was
his shoulder, man.
Yeah, honestly, you just can't really throw a football anymore.
It was honestly hard to watch.
Yeah,
like it really my shoulder was hurting watching him play.
I mean, he was mobile. He had a ton of games where he had rushing touchdowns.
Oh yeah, I mean, if he could even somewhat throw the ball like past 8 yards downfield accurately and with some sort of velocity, I mean, they would have been a solid team. I know he didn't have that many weapons. Don't get me wrong, but
right.
I mean, he also didn't do much.
That's true. That's very true. I remember. I picked him up in fantasy in one of my leagues, and a couple weeks he was going off, and I'm like, 2 rushing touchdowns. I'm like, maybe he'll come around with this throwing.
Yeah,
he never did.
He's still a freak athlete, but
oh yeah, for sure.
As far as arm strength and all that goes, he doesn't really have much of that.
Gone way out the window, which is sad to see, but I mean, it happens.
I don't really see him being a backup quarterback either. I think once he's done being a starter, I think he's just done.
I think so too.
Because he has too much of I don't know, he takes up too much spotlight to be a backup quarterback.
Yeah, I don't think he would take that well either.
No, I just don't. I don't know. I don't want to say he has an ego, but you know what I mean. Like
I think that's a fair point. I think you could say that he has an ego about him. He definitely does. He always has a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah,
you know?
I don't want to make it like a slight at him though.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, that's true. That's just the way he is.
Yeah, And then also some other news in the NFL world. J.J. Watt requests a release from his team that he's been with his whole career, the Houston Texans.
Houston, man, they've had. I mean, if you think about the last 2 years between the Astros, the Rockets situation, and the Texans, I mean, I honestly I feel bad for the fans there.
Yeah. So they lost J.J. Watt, most likely Deshaun Watson, DeAndre Hopkins, James Harden, Garrett Cole, and George Springer.
And their manager, and many coaches.
Yep. So I mean, that must be rough.
They had Ty Matthew a few years ago too, right? If I'm not mistaken, or was that a little longer before that?
A few years ago, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, after Arizona.
Yeah, he was there for a year, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't really a franchise player. I think he was there for like a year, but that's still a big loss.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the fact that he requested a release with being such a loyal guy, I mean,
that kind of says something.
Yeah,
that definitely says something.
Because he was unhappy with the direction of the organization, so he must be losing a lot of faith, or he must have lost all faith, apparently. I mean,
I think seeing that though, that like someone like a J.J. Watt wants to leave, there's no chance that Deshaun's going to be returning.
No, I mean he was probably like, oh yeah, I mean I don't blame you.
Like that was out the window before, but I feel like that was the cherry on top.
Yeah, What are some potential spots? Because I think he could really make an impact on a team still, even with his age.
I mean, people are saying Green Bay because he played his college football at Wisconsin. Where did he grow up there too?
I'm not completely sure of that.
Yeah, let's check that really quick.
He started at Central Michigan. I know that.
Okay.
He's from Wisconsin. Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess that's where they're getting that from. But
yeah.
I mean, I don't think that's completely a part of it.
I feel like every time a big athlete is a free agent, they're like, "Come on home, like come on!" Like every time Anthony Davis was like, there was trade rumors. They're like, "Just come to Chicago,
and Kevin Durant to the Wizards.
Come home."
Like,
it's just not realistic,
Everyone loves a good hometown story.
That would be great, but like you got to look at where the Packers are a really good team. I mean, don't get me wrong, but
they could definitely use another guy on the inside, but I mean, they don't really need it. They have a decent pass rush.
Arizona, man, I mean, DeAndre Hopkins literally he made an Instagram post and he's like, "Come on home, like we got to finish what we started."
Yeah, I mean, I really think they could because I don't think Patrick Peterson is parting ways with them this offseason, so I'm pretty sure he had a big cap hit, so I think he could fill in pretty good.
Yeah, they could definitely pull that off.
And they might lose Hassan Reddick, so they might need more help on the pass rush.
Right.
So I could see that as a good spot. And also Cleveland.
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine him and Myles Garrett?
I was about to say, I mean, you don't want to face that. You don't want to face that D-line.
Yeah, definitely not. That would be brutal, and especially with, I mean, if they could pull off signing J.J. Watt with the offense that they've kind of created, I feel like they'd be. I mean, they're already a playoff team, but that would take them to the next level. Honestly, for the next couple of years. Yeah,
he fits that locker room too. I think him and Baker would be a good dynamic.
Oh yeah, they're both like just gritty guys.
Rally the troops. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
I mean, well, before we move on from JJ, like, there's some people saying that he could come to Chicago. I don't know. We would have to give up. Well, actually, no, because he's a free agent now, right?
Yeah, but he's still he would still take a decent cap hit, I think.
Oh yeah, for sure.
There'd be a lot of teams going for him, so he'll get paid a little more than he probably should.
Yeah, realistically, I don't see him coming here with the way that our defensive contracts are set up and everything.
No, yeah, I don't really see it because we got Bilal Nichols, Eddie Goldman, and Akeem Hicks on the D-line, right. So I don't really see where that fit would be needed. And then we have Robert Quinn, who's tied up, sadly, and then Khalil Mack also.
He had a couple good games this year, but outside of that, I mean, talk about underperforming. It's just like that was very sad season. And seeing somebody like we lost to Leonard Floyd, and it could be the system, but he has a career year. It's kind of just like a slap in the face.
Hopefully, Sean Desai can bring out that production that he's had most of his career.
Yeah, I hope so.
Maybe it's Chuck Pagano's fault. Who knows? But honestly, it looked like a lack of effort sometimes out of Robert Quinn's part.
When we lost that playoff game, everybody was just shredding Chuck Pagano, and he literally retired a few days after again, and he's like, "I'm just done."
Yeah.
Honestly, I can't blame him. I mean, he came in for a year. He did not do a good job in my eyes at all.
No, yeah, definitely not. I mean, he had all the personnel that he needed. I think he just didn't put guys in the right spots a lot of the time. He had
For
edge
sure.
rushers dropping into coverage, like Khalil Mack's dropping into coverage on third down and stuff like that. It's just brutal. Like, and then he would send unneeded blitzes at the wrong times and stuff like against like veteran quarterbacks that could
Yeah.
easily read that and just get the ball off.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. It just clearly was not a good fit at all.
Yeah, definitely. So on to some MLB.
Yep.
The Cubs recently brought back Jake Arrieta.
Ooh, Cubs legend.
Help
Some may say.
fill out the rotation. I mean, personally though, I really don't think it's too like crazy of a signing. I
It's
think
just the name. That's the only reason it made news is
Exactly.
because Arrieta's coming back. I
Because-
mean, you look at his last couple of seasons, and there's not much to really.
yeah, he's had a gradual decline. I mean, he hasn't had a FIP under 4 since 2016, which was his last. I mean, I guess he's had an alright year in 2017 and 2018. He was average, but he hasn't had an above average year since 2016. So,
Right.
I mean, I guess.
And especially from like the season that he had in 2015, where he won the Cy Young. I mean,
yeah.
talk about a drop off. Just, I mean, we see this with some pitchers, but I mean, he literally had probably one of the best pitching years that we've ever seen. And then after that, he had a few good years after, but yeah, it's just been a gradual decline, like you said.
Yeah, he was one of those guys who were a late bloomer and then kind of just dragged off after a couple of years. I mean, he's a serviceable guy though. I don't think that's a bad pickup for them, but I don't think
not.
I don't think he's much of a difference maker.
No, yeah, for sure. That's like, I don't know. It's just a filler spot, you know?
Yeah, I mean, he's an innings eater. Hopefully he can stay healthy for them. I mean, he has experience in the playoffs if they do get there. Who
Right.
knows? But I mean, he could help them out. I mean, just don't shift when he's pitching.
Oh,
'cause you know how he feels about that. Philadelphia learned that the hard way.
Oh man, that interview's gold, and if you haven't seen that, definitely check that out.
Yeah, and then also Justin Turner recently re-signed with the Dodgers.
Yeah.
On a 2-year, $32 million contract, I believe.
Yeah. I mean, he's 36, but I mean, he's putting up good numbers, you know.
34 million, my mistake.
2 years, 34.
Yeah, so 17 a year. But I mean, I think that's a good signing for them. I mean, it pushes them over the salary or the luxury tax
Yeah.
a lot, but they've shown a willingness to want to repeat, so why not?
Yeah, exactly.
Because they definitely have the revenue to spend like this, but they're trying to get Kershaw out of the ring. I don't blame them.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm not surprised that JT kind of when he re-signed with the Dodgers. I just remember the last thing I remember of him was having his mask off, like at the that was like a really big deal. At the World Series.
It's kind of crazy how they just swept it under the rug too.
Yeah.
They just completely disregarded
And
that.
he came back on the field like one time with a mask, and then he took it off.
Yeah,
and
he
then
was,
he
like,
tested positive.
He was in the team pictures and everything.
Yeah.
He just,
I don't know if it ended up. I don't think it was a false negative.
No, I think he truly had it. I think they were just kind of like.
But I didn't hear anything about like the rest of the team coming out and like, oh, there's a COVID outbreak.
No,
so
maybe they just didn't care.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
Who knows? Or maybe they just kind of swept it under the rug because they've been waiting so long. I don't know.
But looking past that situation, I mean, JT, he's a really good player.
Oh yeah.
Still.
He's also another late bloomer. Him and Daniel Murphy kind of figured it out at the same time with the Mets, and then they just kind of carried on ever since. Well, Daniel Murphy's retired now, but Justin Turner's still.
I mean, last year,
producing.
42 games, 307. It's getting it done, man. You know.
Yeah, he hasn't had an OPS under 800 since 2013.
That's pretty crazy.
I mean, what else can you ask for? I mean, he's not the best defender, but he's solid. I mean, for that production at third base, you really can't ask for much more, though.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. Yeah, definitely a good signing by the Dodgers. And I think they have a pretty good chance of repeating. I mean, everybody's talking about the Padres, and
they're just loaded with talent.
They are loaded, but I feel like the Dodgers just have so much more chemistry already and playoff experience. I feel like that's completely underrated.
Yeah, and they also have a good farm system too.
Yeah.
I mean, they have Josiah Gray, the right-handed pitcher, who's coming up this year also, and he's not even going to have a spot in the rotation. He's like the 8th starter.
Right.
So, and
Yeah, they have a ton of depth. It's crazy.
And also going back to Justin Turner, he's one of the best playoff performers of all time.
Oh, yeah.
So it's never bad to have one of those
they have
guys in
guys.
your team.
And, I mean, honestly, having Kershaw kind of show up, like, big time this past postseason, he had a few kind of okay outings, but this was by far, I think, his best postseason that he's ever had. And to have that and to have the World Series under his belt, even at his age, he's still got some good years left, like some really good years in my eyes. And just getting that first World Series, he's going to be so much more comfortable when they come back to the playoffs. Like, it's going to be night and day.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be in the zone next year for sure. I don't think they're one of those teams that are going to have a World Series hangover because they've been fighting for it for so long. They expect to be in the playoffs.
Yeah,
at this point.
I could honestly, like, if they repeat, I would not be surprised.
Yeah, definitely. They definitely remind me of those Yankees teams in the early 2000s.
Oh, yeah.
Just they literally have like a stud at every position.
They kind of and they should have too, because what was it, the 7-game series with the Astros, who blatantly cheated that year, so they just had a World Series stolen from them.
Yeah, basically, it's kind of a travesty, but
no, it's completely a travesty.
I'm glad the Dodgers got over it though. That's good for them.
Yeah, and they definitely used that as fire, like, and motivation just to go and do what they did last year. So I feel like having that and someone like Joe Kelly, who's probably never going to get over that, as well as the rest of the team. I don't know.
Not.
They're just, like you said, they do remind me of the Yankees teams from the early 2000s. So if they repeat, I mean, I would not be surprised.
Yeah. And then moving on to some other MLB transactions, Andrew Benintendi was recently traded to the Royals.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that's a bad pickup for them, for a rebuilding team, to take a flyer on a guy who was a top prospect coming up, had some solid years with the Red Sox.
Fell off a little bit there.
Yeah, he had 4 years with a above-average OPS, solid hitter, solid defender. I mean, why not? I mean, he's kind of tailed off a little bit over the past year and a half or so, but I mean, why not? I mean, they're not expected to win this year. Why not try to take a chance on a guy?
He's 26. He's young enough to where he could easily bounce back and have a great career.
Yeah.
So
he's got great tools. I mean, why not?
I mean, for the White Sox sake, hopefully he doesn't perform well, but it's a nice little, like, he's got some experience, so I guess you could say it's not really a veteran pickup, but it's nice to pick up a guy like that for a rebuilding team.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's won before too, so
that's right.
He could definitely educate some guys.
He brings in a winning mentality for sure.
Exactly. I mean, and they didn't really pay much for him, so I like.
I was about to say, what was the salary?
He's still on his arbitration contract,
okay.
So he doesn't get paid very much, especially since he hasn't been playing that well of late. So
right,
it's, pennies at this point for any team.
Right.
And so, yeah, I don't know if there's that much to talk about with them and the Royals as a whole, because they're still rebuilding. They have some young pitchers like Brady Singer and Jackson Kowar. Nothing too crazy though.
Right.
So we wanted to touch on the projections that recently came out for
here we go.
PECOTA, USA Today, and Fangraphs.
Yeah.
Mostly touching on the White Sox. So I'm gonna start with the most controversial one in my eyes, which is PECOTA. So PECOTA has the White Sox projected at 83-79, which is good for third in the division.
Okay. Yeah. How do you feel about that, Joe?
I'm going to start with, and I honestly don't see a world where the Indians, who recently traded their best player, Francisco Lindor, finish ahead of the White Sox.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
I just truly don't see how the Indians do it. They have a good rotation, don't get me wrong. They got Bieber, Plesac, and Savale and all that, but I just don't see I just don't see it. I really don't. Who's even playing the outfield for them this year?
I couldn't tell you.
Exactly. It doesn't.
There's so many. Sense. Yeah, and with losing Lindor, they have a lot of shoes to fill this upcoming year.
Exactly.
And they do have a good rotation, but the White Sox, just as a team right now, they're so much more complete than the Indians. So yeah. The Twins are gonna give us a run for our money for sure. As opposed to the Indians. I feel like the Twins are a much better team than the Indians right now.
Yeah, I'm not mad at like I wouldn't be mad at any ranking if they had the Twins ahead of us because we
Right.
haven't gone out and proved that we could do it yet. I mean, we should have won the division last year, but we didn't. So bottom line is they're the defending champs of the division, so they deserve that respect.
Right.
I can attest to that. That's fine.
Mhm.
But I just don't see what they were thinking here. For anyone who doesn't know, Pacoda is kind of like it was founded by this guy. I'm not sure what his name is, but he's like he's into like finances and stuff, but he's some genius apparently who came up with an algorithm to project teams and player stats and standings and all that. So every year they come out with projections before the year, and there's always some like wild card projections
So
that
they're
just don't make much sense.
What are they just basing it off stats from the previous year, or?
I'm not sure what they do, but they just kind of just plug it into a formula and say this is what it came out with.
I feel like anytime you do that, though, it's just not going to be accurate, you know?
No, yeah, because it's all computer based. It's not gonna take any intangibles intact or like.
And we've seen teams look great on paper before, and it just doesn't pan out, and then vice versa, you know?
Exactly. I'm not even sure how they can just project on the future on some guys when they haven't even seen them play in the major leagues.
Exactly.
But, I mean.
Like, what would they say about Andrew Vaughn?
Oh, Fangraphs had Andrew Vaughn projected to have a 298 on base percentage. I just don't see that happening. He has some of the best plate discipline on the White Sox, and he's not even technically on the major league roster yet.
Right.
I just don't see that happening. Like he's not gonna go out and have the same on base percentage as Yolmer Sanchez. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like-
that's just a blatant insult.
Yeah. I mean, I could see if he came up for like 20 games and that happened, but from the looks of it, I could see him being up right away. So,
Yep.
That doesn't make much sense to me.
And then USA Today had us ranked first in the division. So it's like, that's all these are. You know, they're just projections. So
Yeah. Personally, I think USA Today probably had one of the better ones. Like
Mhm.
just looking around the league, I agree with almost every division winner. One of the weird ones, I guess, was they had Milwaukee one game ahead of the Cubs.
yeah, that is odd.
So, I mean, I don't really see that because they've just kind of tailed off every year. Milwaukee.
They have three. I mean, Milwaukee, Chicago, and Cincy, and those in the USA Today rankings, they're all within like 4 games of each other.
Yeah. One thing I feel pretty good about though is that they have Atlanta over the Mets. I think the Mets have been a little overhyped lately
Completely.
just because they've been making splashes all offseason, but
Yeah.
I still have to see it to believe it, you know what I mean? Because
Mhm.
the Braves, they've done it consistently for about 2-3 years now, so
Yeah.
they're only getting better. They have so many young
And
players.
I love that they have the Dodgers 10 games over the Padres.
Yeah, I mean I think the Dodgers are just clearly the better team.
Yeah.
Like the Padres,
People just want to. I feel like people are just saying that Padres are better because they're sick of the Dodgers.
Yeah, I mean they just because it's the trendy thing to say. But if you look at every aspect of the team, the Dodgers are just better in every way.
Yep.
Like don't get me wrong, San Diego is one of the best teams in the league, but they're just not even close.
That's just, I don't know. Just hearing that is just weird to say. Like, I never thought I'd see the day where San Diego would have one of the most talented rosters in the league.
I think it's less of a gripe on San Diego more than it is just how good the Dodgers are compared to everyone else.
Right. Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, these projections, the 3 of these, they're kind of all over the place, but we'll see what happens. The Pacoda ranking just rose me the wrong way.
Oh, also, and Fangraphs has us at 87 and 75, which is second place, 1 game back of the Twins.
That's also way more realistic.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I just don't. Yeah, Pacoda had us almost at 500, 4 games above. I just don't think there's any chance of that happening.
Yeah, definitely not.
But 87 wins, I could definitely see that being plausible for the White Sox.
Mhm.
And like I said, I'm cool with being 1 game back of the Twins because they edged us out last year. So
Yeah, definitely.
So today marks the official start of the baseball season.
Yes.
Pitchers and catchers officially reporting.
Very big day.
Tony La Russa's putting the uniform on for the first time in what?
I think since 2011-ish, right?
Yeah,
When he was with
2010,
the
11.
Cardinals.
So it's pretty crazy. I mean, the first time a Hall of Famers ever came back just to play after being, I mean, not to play, to coach.
Mm-hmm.
Coach or play, I think, to
Manage the team.
Yeah.
Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah.
Yeah. He does. So in his last game, I mean, he won the World Series, right? If I'm not
I
mistaken.
believe so, yeah, with Lance Lynn on the team.
I mean, that's a hell of a way to go out. So,
Yeah.
I mean, let's hope that he comes back with. I mean, 10 years is a long time. You know,
Yeah, oh,
any
yeah.
way you look at it.
I mean, people definitely think the game has passed him by, but I don't think so. I think great baseball minds can stick around for a while.
That's true. He'll definitely be able to adjust. And I was kind of one of those people that was. It's just because we have such a young team and a fresh new mindset, and then throwing in somebody like La Russa, and the DUI didn't help either. But
Definitely not. Definitely caused some unneeded attention after the hiring. But
and there were players that didn't want to come here, right? There was at least one that didn't want to come here because of La Russa.
yeah, I mean,
But that didn't really make much sense to me.
yeah, I mean, I don't see why that would make sense because it's not like the manager doesn't dictate everything on the team. Like,
Exactly.
you're still going to be around the players more often than anything. So, I mean, if it's a good locker room culture, the manager really doesn't matter all that much.
For sure.
I mean, as long as they don't mess up the X's and O's, I mean,
And
they'll be all right.
it's going to be pretty hard to it would be hard to mess up this current White Sox roster, you know.
Oh yeah, and he's been known as being an A1 bullpen manager.
Mhm.
Like that was literally his thing as a manager. He was the bullpen guy. So I have my full faith in him being able to manage us, especially in the playoffs.
Oh yeah, as opposed to the
Ricky.
Yeah, Ricky. Talk about a flippin' bullpen management.
Putting Carlos Rodon in the high leverage situation
I mean,
after not pitching for a while and
yeah,
and not even pitching out of the bullpen as his normal role.
I remember watching that game. I'm like, what is happening? I may have been cursing at the TV. I was just like, what is going on?
Yeah, the game kind of went off the rails when he pulled Dane Dunning pretty early like that, and then Garrett Crochet has that's injury scare.
Yep.
That kind of put us out of our game plan, and it didn't seem like we were able to recover after that.
Yeah, Ricky was. I mean, I guess throughout his tenure with the White Sox, his decisions for regarding pitching just throughout the game, they've been questionable. And that's being nice, I'd say.
Yeah, for sure. Another White Sox bit is Michael Kopech returning.
Yeah, this is just like it's been a very weird situation because it's kind of hard to judge exactly what's going on because it's a mental thing. It's not even injuries.
It's kind of touch and go, but apparently he's at full mental health, full physical health.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think there could be any other good signs besides that.
Yeah.
We just gotta see how he performs in spring training. See if he possibly could start with the team. Who knows? Or if they get him a few starts in Charlotte and AAA before. I think he's in a good spot right now.
I hope so. I mean, it's hard to tell, you know.
Yeah, Giolito said that he was in good shape. He was talking to him at spring training and all that stuff. He was there early.
That's good. That's a very good sign.
All signs point to a solid return. Hopefully he can make an impact to throw maybe 120 or so innings in the MLB this year. Because they definitely won't give him a full leash or anything like that. Just because.
No, and I don't think they should. That probably wouldn't be the smartest idea.
No, long term wise, I think 120 is good. 120 good innings of Michael Kopech.
I'll take that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that can win us a decent amount of games.
Oh, for sure. Speaking of Giolito, him and TA have been pretty public about their attitude for this upcoming season.
Yeah, they were. They both talked about. Oh, Lucas Giolito's quote was that they should go out and try to kill the other team at every game. I mean,
hey man, I'm all for it.
Oh yeah, that's the kind of reason you go out and sign a guy like Liam Hendricks, a guy like Adam Eaton, a guy like Lance Lynn.
Adam Eaton, man.
Get some fire in the clubhouse.
Get some grit, man.
Oh yeah, I mean those guys will never let anyone else get content in the dugout. No, they're fierce guys.
And with TA and Giolito, like both of them coming around because they're two of the leaders of this team. Like,
yeah.
And they even admitted they're like last year we were good, but we just didn't have that killer instinct.
Yeah.
And just to have this aggressive mentality, it's getting me hyped up for the season.
Yeah, he came out and said that once they clinched the playoffs last year, they kind of took their foot off the gas. And they don't want something like that to happen this year.
And we literally saw that happen. You know?
Yeah,
they blew the division.
Yeah, they crumbled in the last week and a half of the season. And I mean, all they needed to do is win one more game to win the division. So if they don't take their foot off the gas there, who knows what could have happened? They wouldn't even have had to play the A's.
I think Abreu said something. Remember, we clinched the playoffs and we lost a few games in a row, and Abreu was like, "We got to stop. We got to get out of this rut," and they just never did.
Yeah, I mean, it was good that he recognized it, but the rest of the clubhouse has to buy into that also. Yeah. I mean, it seemed like they were just kind of cruising and waiting for the playoffs. I mean, as a fan, I know I was like, please just get us to the playoffs, because we were literally crawling into the playoffs at that point.
Oh yeah.
We took off sprinting at first, but by the end we started to slow down.
Exactly. Heavily. Yeah, but it's good that they have that killer instinct now. Another piece on the White Sox. Andrew Vaughn could hopefully be in the opening day lineup.
Yeah, I think a lot of it depends on whether or not he's extended, but I've seen some reporters say that even without an extension, he could possibly be up opening day. I mean,
that would be huge.
I'm all for it. I know everyone, a lot of the hardcore fans are into the service time manipulation. And for the people who don't know what that is, you can wait a few weeks into the season, and it can push back free agency for the player 1 year, so that they won't have to pay them as much as they probably would for a full year just by waiting a few weeks.
And we saw that happen with Chris Bryant, and we know how that went, right?
Yeah, but the White Sox have been pretty good about not having to do that because they're the best team at extending guys before they even come up.
Yep.
So that sort of thing could happen with Vaughn. They did it. You saw the same thing with Luis Robert and Eloy. So hopefully that can happen.
Right.
I've also seen talks with Giolito and Lynn being brought up. So hopefully both of them could get extended also. I don't think all of them would get extended. I just don't see that happening.
Yeah, I don't think
I see probably maybe one. I mean,
I'd say Giolito, honestly, out of them.
If I had to prioritize one, probably Giolito, just because he's the most important pitcher that we're probably going to have throughout the whole run. So I think keeping him around is probably the best. I could see him wanting to come back because he likes it in Chicago and he likes the clubhouse.
Oh yeah.
But hopefully they can come to agreement. I don't really know what the numbers would look like on that because they would avoid arbitration.
I don't either. And these are all good players, but someone like Giolito and then Robert and Eloy, I feel like we could get away with not paying them a ton, if that makes sense. Because they have potential, but maybe, okay, I could see Robert maybe asking for a lot of money, but Giolito I feel like would sign back here because it's the White Sox, just not for a ton of money.
I think, the thing is that's good about extending the young players is that they don't know how they're going to do in the majors,
right? And
they want that financial security, so the teams offer them that security for maybe less of the price as if they went out in their rookie year or in their first and second years, say, and killed it, because then they would be like, well, I want a lot of money because I'm going to be good for a long time.
Right.
But a lot of these players, especially Eloy and Robert, they come from a different country, so they want that financial security for sure,
That's true.
But
That's
a guy with Giolito, he's already proved himself, so I feel like he could ask for the big bucks because a lot of people consider him a top 10 pitcher in the league. Yeah. So he could either wait to test free agency or just have a certain number that he set on. The White Sox have to either give him that money or fold.
Yeah, and if he does set that number, I say we got to go out and get him because
I agree.
He's like you said, he's got to be our ace for this run.
He's essential.
Yeah,
yeah,
no doubt.
He's only getting better. I mean, he's literally dominated the other team, just having two good pitches. He has the fastball and the changeup. His slider and his curveball haven't really been consistent. I mean, he's thrown, I want to say 80% of his pitches are those two pitches.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty crazy if you ask me. I mean, if he can even add any of that, even one more pitch, say he gets his slider better, I mean, he's gonna be a top 3 pitcher in my opinion. Yeah. I mean, a stat I saw yesterday was he's had the most swings and misses and pitches in the heart of the zone, right down the middle out of anyone in the league.
Really?
Yeah, he gets whiffs 28% of the time. on pitches down the middle.
Sheesh.
It's ahead of Jacob deGrom, Max Scherzer, and Brandon Woodruff.
Yeah,
so
that's amazing company.
yeah, I mean that's crazy to be able to throw a pitch down the middle and get a swing and miss almost 30% of the time. That's outrageous.
Yep.
Literally,
yeah, I'd agree.
Literally only throwing a fastball or a changeup. So.
I think that does it for the White Sox for now. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Also.
Yeah. There's just a ton to look forward to.
Mm-hmm. On to some recent, more sad news. Vincent Jackson, former NFL player, has recently passed away at 38 years old.
Yeah, 3-time Pro Bowler. Madden legend. I mean, he was one of the more speedy receivers to use. I just remember growing up using him all the time.
Yeah, he was great with those jump balls. He was 6'5".
Oh yeah.
He's great. I mean, he was a very good NFL player. I mean, it's really sad that this happened.
Yeah, and it's just like he was remembered more for his time with the Buccaneers, I'd say, than the Chargers. And just to like kind of, I remember I saw him posting about the just the Buccaneers run that they had this year, and it's just like, I mean, at least he got to see them win, but who knows what like state of mind or if he was okay at the time that they won.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's not a whole lot saying exactly what happened right now. So,
yeah.
I mean, it just happened a few days ago.
Yeah, the details haven't really came out yet, but he was only 38 years old. I mean, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, and it wasn't like a car accident or like a freak injury. It was just they just found him in his apartment. So
yeah, it's pretty sad.
It is very sad.
Just wanted to
pay our respects a little bit, because he was, I mean, he was a very good wide receiver in the NFL. Great player. Definitely. And from what I've heard from other players, that he was a great teammate too. So
yeah, really sucks.
It does.
So on to some Blackhawks.
Oh yeah. Very happy right now with what's going on. Very surprised.
I'll let you take the lead here.
The last couple weeks, Hawks have won 6 of their last 8 games, and they've had a chance to win all of those games. After last season, we snuck into the playoffs. We should not have been there. I'm just going to say it. Edmonton was a better team than us. We beat them in like the play-in situation, because last year was just weird with how the playoffs were.
Yeah, I think they just took advantage of Edmonton trying to ride the hot power play all year.
Yeah, and we got in, played Vegas, got absolutely smoked. The only reason we even won a game was because Crawford stood on his head. I think he had like 48 saves or something, and we won the game by a goal.
It was because they didn't even have Leonard in goal at that time, right? They had Fleury.
I think so. I think they were kind of bouncing back and forth.
Yeah, because I know Vegas had 2 really good goalies because they got Leonard from us. But.
And I mean, for the first half of that season, we had Leonard, so it was kind of a weird situation where, like, why did we go out and get Leonard if we had Crawford? And I think halfway through the season, we're like, why did we do that?
Because I feel like having 2 number 1 goalies, I mean, it's a good problem to have, but at the same time, how do you decide who to put in big games?
And how do you, like,
and how do you tell
it doesn't matter if they have experience or not. They need to create like good momentum for that season, and if you keep bouncing back and forth, they're going to be fighting for the spot, but nobody's really going to get into a good groove or a good rhythm for the season.
I completely agree.
It was kind of a bad situation.
Yeah. So with this hot streak going, how much credit do you give Colleton?
You know what, I was one of the guys, I think, just because I was so confused at the Coach Q firing. Because I thought Bowman should have went before him, because the players loved Quenneville. Colleton, I'm like, it's this young guy. Like, I don't know how much he knows, but it seems like he's done a good job of developing players, and like he connects with the younger players, I'd say, really well. And someone like a Kane, I mean, you don't have to coach him that much. You know, someone like Keith, someone like Seabrook, Taze. I know a couple of those guys aren't playing right now, but like, there's some guys that there's just a mutual respect there. Like, you don't have to coach Kane that much, but the job that he's done with the younger players has honestly surprised me in the best way possible.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he's I think he's done a great job of coaching them up, and especially with the back end lines playing pretty well.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think usually, like, the past year or so, it's been like the first line kind of carrying the load as far as the Hawks go. But this year, the second line, the third line, they've been pretty solid.
And we had young defensemen in general for the past couple of seasons, but they're finally getting a couple of years under their belt, and they've just taken a huge step up. Like, they're just so much grittier this year, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the style of hockey that we're playing is like completely opposite of last year. Like last year,
Which is crazy.
Our defensemen were playing Olay with, and then they were just basically relying on Corey Crawford to be able to.
And we were
save
just
the
like
game.
we're kind of just shooting for the fences. We
Exactly.
we wanted to win games like 6-5, 5-4
Yeah.
every time, and defense was kind of just an afterthought. And then
Yeah.
here we are. I mean, our last game we had 20 shots on goal through regulation, and we win the game 3-2 in overtime.
Exactly. We're gritting games out, playing tough defense, and I mean, we're not the strongest team in offense, don't get me wrong,
Right.
but we're relying on the power play. But we're executing. So I mean, if the
Second in we're almost at 35% on the power play, which
Yeah.
is good enough for second in the league, which is actually pretty insane.
Yeah, I mean, even say there is some regression there. Say we go down to like 27, 28%. I'm pretty sure that's good. That's still pretty solid.
Yeah, that's really good. That would
Yeah.
be good enough for if we're top 10, top like 7, I'd say in the league. That's a great place to be at.
Exactly.
And our penalty kills is 9th in the league, so we're doing good on defense too. You know.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Yeah, our defense is definitely something I don't see regressing. I think if anything, it might get better.
Oh
So-
yeah, give it a couple years. Those guys, I mean, they're all gonna be in like their mid-20s. Duncan Keith is 37, and he's still leading the Blackhawks in ice time.
I mean,
That's not gonna be the case in the next couple of years, but it's still pretty impressive to see.
Duncan Keith is the definition of grit.
Oh yeah, he. I mean, just his hairstyle, his beard, just everything about him, you know,
Yeah.
screams hockey player.
Never forget losing the teeth like that.
Oh yeah, and he didn't get them fixed until after the parade.
Yep. So do you think Stan Bowman may be off the hook because of this?
Sadly, yes. These players are completely bailing him out in my eyes right now, and he's. What really rubbed me the wrong way is when Lankinen, our new star goalie. I mean, he's just been fantastic, but when he started playing well, Bowman's like. He's like, yeah, he's been surprising us pleasantly, but we knew it. Like,
Yeah, acting
it's like, okay, then why'd you start 2 goals? He was the third goalie to play this year. You stop acting like you knew this would happen because you didn't.
Because in some interviews he was saying that they were set at goalie, like acting like he had a solution, but Lankinen clearly wasn't the solution in his head, but he just happened to have a diamond in the rough.
Yeah, I
call
guess.
it?
I mean, I like the fact that he was with our AHL affiliate for like 2 or 3 years, which means we built him up. But first game of the year, we send Subban out, gives up 5 goals. We're like, all right, we'll try D'Elia. And we send him out there, gives up 5 goals. So we're kind of just like throwing guys out there at that point. Lankinen has a few good starts, and we ride with him, and he's been great ever since. So I really do
Definitely.
think he's our guy. And then in Subban, ever since then, has been a good backup. So, I mean, we found the situation, but I feel like that's on the players. That's not. I don't give any credit to Bowman there. I think he got bailed out.
No, yeah, definitely.
To be completely honest,
I agree, and it's definitely going to save his job for at least another year, which is, I'm not going to say. Well, I'm going to say it. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, it is unfortunate because he did great things for the organization, but I mean, it just comes a time where you have to move on. We've moved on from our head coach. We have a younger team now because throughout our run, we were young, but there was a lot of veteran experience there. We've kind of just changed the mindset of our team because now Kane and Taze are like these older guys. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're still pretty young. They're in their early 30s, but they're like our veteran leaders. And so we just have a completely new mindset. And I think with that, you got to get rid of a guy like Stan Bowman. He's done his job here, and I think he's overstayed his welcome a little bit, and he's getting bailed out by this team because nobody expected the Hawks to do as well as they are doing right now, which is the weird thing.
Yeah,
and
they're surprising a lot of teams.
Right, and Kirby Doc was a rookie last year, and he's out for a few months, so we don't have Doc. We don't have our team's captain in Taze, so put those guys in there. I mean, we'd be doing even better than we are right now.
Yeah, exactly.
But with the lack of experience that this current roster has with the injuries, Seabrook's out too, and he's obviously 3-time Stanley Cup champion. He's lost an edge, but he's still got the experience there. I just don't know how successful we can actually be like if we make it to the playoffs.
No, yeah, but I'll always root for the team to make the playoffs at least.
Right.
I mean,
Nobody's gonna root for a team to tank.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Stanley Cup aspirations are a little out. I mean, a little out there, but it's always fun to root for a good Hawks team. Though,
exactly.
You know?
Yeah, and these guys, I mean, they're young and they're just exciting to watch. It's kind of refreshing to see.
No, yeah, exactly. You root for good player development, and then hopefully the team can win some
And
games.
that's, I mean, as of right now, that's what we're seeing. We're seeing good young player development. So hopefully they can keep it up. But Stan, you're still on thin ice, buddy. So,
on to some Bulls.
another young team.
Yeah, gone through some ups and downs lately, to say the least. But their last game against the Pacers, I mean, I think that was an up.
Yeah, that's definitely an up.
Zach LaVine making a clutch shot at the end of the game.
Yeah, he's really proving that like he is the guy that's gonna have the ball at the end of the game.
Yeah, he's legit.
The talent's obviously been there for I'd say most of his career. I mean,
yeah,
his stats have been getting better every single year, which is kind of hard to believe.
Yeah, I mean, he came into the league as this raw athlete who could jump really high.
Won 2 dunk contests, right?
Yeah,
back to back, I believe.
Yeah, and then he couldn't shoot that well his rookie year, but he always got better and better. I mean, his 3-point percentage has consistently gone up every year. It started around 34%, and now it's worked its way up to 43% so far this year.
And there's a case that he could be an all-star starter. I mean, Beal's probably going to get the start over him, but
yeah,
he needs to be an all-star this year. Like, there's no excuse for him not to be in the all-star game this year.
It would be criminal for him not to be an all-star.
It would be. I mean,
quite honestly.
28, 5 and 5. It's 5.5 and 5.
On great efficiency. I mean, he's shooting 51%
on
19 shots a game, almost 20. I mean,
that's pretty absurd.
I mean, what else can you really ask for? I mean, sure, the team's record isn't that great, but it's a young team, and it's not really on him. He plays well every night.
He's a 25-year-old guy, and he's expected to be the leader of an up-and-coming team. I mean,
yeah, I've seen Zach LaVine catch way too much flack for the team's performance.
For sure. And people are coming at his head or coming at the Bulls ownership and trade this guy while he still got value. It's like he's just entering the first part of his prime.
Why wouldn't you want to keep a guy like that? I mean, he's the kind of guy who's going to attract another free agent that may be even better than him to put the team over the top eventually.
Right. And was it somebody said this with Lonzo, they're like, this is the first time that we're hearing of somebody actually wanting to go to the Bulls in a few years, which it's refreshing, you know?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think Lonzo Ball would be a great pickup for the team.
But, that would be great.
I mean, he fits the complementary piece that Zach LaVine would need at point guard right next to him.
And talk about undeserved trashing of a player. Lonzo Ball is literally the poster boy for that.
Oh yeah, I mean, he's actually a really solid player. I think people just are looking at points per game and not actually.
I was about to
say
they're asking for something that isn't even necessary for him to be a great player. He's a point guard. You don't have to score a ton of points at the end of the day, you know?
Yeah.
He's a great rebounder, a fantastic rebounder for a point guard, great passer, he's got great court vision. He only needs to put up 10 points a game realistically to be a great point guard, you know?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, and people say he can't shoot. His shooting percentage has gone up every year. I mean, he started off at 36%, and now he's up to 42% from the field, which isn't great, but it's getting better, you know?
Yeah.
And then his 3-point percentage is also up 7% from his rookie year.
Oh, and also he's 23 years old. I mean,
he shoots 37% from 3. That's not too bad, and he's shooting 7 a game. That's with his efficiency going up. He's averaging 13.7 a game, which isn't awful. I mean, it's pretty solid if you ask me. And then his rebounds and assists are solid. Yeah. I mean, he's not playing a crazy amount of minutes per game, he is playing 30 minutes, never mind. But I think he's a solid player.
Yeah,
I mean,
and there's definitely there's a ton of room for improvement. Like you said, he's been getting better each year in his career, so.
Yeah. He's also fine with not having to shoot the ball. I mean, if anything, he is a pass-first point guard, actually. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's the perfect kind of guy for Zach LaVine.
Yeah, looking at these numbers, it seems like he's just kind of getting off to a slower start this year. Because last year he had 7 assists per game, 6 rebounds. That's really, that's good for a point guard, you know? Yeah,
I don't know. I think since Zion's kind of took that step up, maybe he just doesn't have the ball in his hands as much.
Right.
But he's willing to do that though. That's what I'm saying. That's the kind of guy he is, where he's willing to take a back seat for a guy who's gonna shoot 60% from the field like Zion.
Right.
Which is ridiculous.
Yeah, I think he'd be a great addition to this Bulls team.
Definitely. Just that unselfishness culture is what they kind of need to build.
So they would have to shift because Levine's at the is he at the 2 right now?
Yeah.
Okay, so would we just have Kobe White coming off the bench?
They could either do that or they could run a small ball kind of type lineup where they
have Kobe, Lonzo, and Levine.
Yeah, they could put Zach Levine at the
small,
3. Yeah. He's 6'5", but I mean everyone plays small ball kind of nowadays, so they could do something like that, or they could do something where they put Kobe White as a 6-man and kind of let him be a spark off the bench, because he could definitely do something like that. I mean, you saw it last year as a rookie.
Yeah,
he was coming off the bench just dropping 30 a game. I mean, it was pretty crazy at some points. He just couldn't miss. But I mean, he's a little inconsistent, so I wouldn't be mad if they did something like that. But
yeah, he has spurts of greatness, but yeah, definitely pretty inconsistent. I mean, he's a kid. It's his second year, so he's got a ton of time to keep improving. But yeah,
I definitely don't get mad at him for it. But I wouldn't be mad if he came off the bench.
Yeah, I think that actually might be a pretty good situation. I mean, that is if Lonzo comes here,
Yeah.
So
and how with the young player development this year, do you think Billy Donovan is the reason for it?
I think that's. Yeah, it's partly Billy, because, I mean, it was pretty apparent that the players hated Boylan. I mean, hate's a strong word, but they just didn't want to play for him,
No, yeah,
Nobody
especially so when he would bench guys at the end of games and stuff like that. I mean, it's got to be pretty annoying, especially when like you're better than the guy who's out there, but it's just because he's a veteran he's out there.
It was frustrating seeing Markkanen kind of come around and then getting hurt.
Oh yeah, I know. I like what I saw though.
He's averaging 19 a game this year.
Yeah, and that's great shooting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really hope he can carry on after he comes back. And what does he have, like 2-3 more weeks till he comes back? So
I think so.
Hopefully he can stay healthy when he does come back. I mean, I don't know how many games he'll actually be playing after, because that's a long time. But
right.
Hopefully he can just.
Yeah, he's shooting over 51% from the field this year, 19 points a game. I mean, that's more than we could ask for.
Yeah, it's extremely solid. I mean, that's the kind of player we expected him to be this whole time. So I'm glad he's finally living up to it at least. But I believe he is a restricted free agent after the year. So
that's going to be interesting.
What they're going to be.
I was about to say it's going to be interesting to see what actually happens.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they're willing to pay him compared to what he wants, because I know he's going to want a decent amount, because even if he was just averaging like 14 a game, stretch fours are so valuable that he would get overpaid from another team if we didn't want to pay him. So
yeah, for sure.
That's why I'm a little afraid, but I think we'll retain him.
Yeah.
Just because Otto Porter's coming off the books, $28 million.
Yeah, could we not talk about that?
Yeah, I don't really want to touch on Otto Porter today.
Yeah, it's been nice, and with the young player development, I think part of that is just some of these guys getting getting that second year under their belts. Like, they're just getting more experience and more comfortable in the league,
Yeah, especially a guy like Patrick Williams, youngest player in the league. Just getting minutes, I think, will help him. Reps in practice. I mean, everything he can soak some knowledge off of and some kind of experience and learn lessons off of, I think will help him in the long run. Because, I mean, he's got all the intangibles as far as, like, he's got a great work ethic and stuff like that. He's a quiet guy. So I think
gives me kind of baby like Kawhi Leonard vibes a
little bit. He's a quiet guy. I
like that though.
Yeah. I mean, you need a few guys like that. I think. I mean, not everyone has to have a huge ego, especially for superstars wise.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, Billy Donovan coming. As soon as we signed him, I was like, I really like that pickup.
Yeah, me too. I think that his willingness to play the young players, like starting Patrick Williams on opening night, I think that instills confidence in young guys like that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And makes them want to go out there and play hard because they want to like show that they actually. And I
saw in a post game interview the other night, they were asking him, they're like, "Why'd you start so and so?" And he's like, "Oh, it's my fault." Like, whatever. Just like taking ownership for mistakes like that, and kind of like. I don't know. He's a really good face of the team as opposed to somebody like Jim Boylan.
Yeah, I was about to say not to knock on a guy like Jim Boylan, but he was always kind of just deflecting questions.
Oh yeah, it was like awkward.
Blame,
I felt like secondhand awkwardness watching his interviews.
Yeah, it was almost like he he just wanted to retain his job so much that he wanted to deflect the blame off of himself, but it was kind of backfired in a way because everyone was just like, you're not going to stand up for your players.
Like, what are you doing?
Like, he was like, because people would ask him why he wasn't playing Lowry at the end of games, and he would be like, and he would just point out a mistake that he made, but instead of being like, oh, maybe I could have put him in here or something like that, or just not airing out his issues to the media.
It just looks like Billy's in the right spot. It looks like he's comfortable there.
I think coming from college, especially having a lot of success in college, he knows how to interact with young players and how to develop them and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and instill confidence.
It doesn't always pan out like from college to the pros. Like we saw that with I was about to say, yeah.
Because he was almost too soft to handle. Well, not
he was. Yeah, he
to
was
coach
too soft.
Grown men.
He was too soft.
But I think Billy Donovan has a good. He has a good balance.
And being in OKC for 5 or 6 years, I mean, he's already got experience under his belt, and he had some pretty successful teams there.
Yeah, he also handled some strong personalities while he was there, so he probably learned how to handle like professional players who are getting paid millions of dollars.
Yeah, because you got Russ,
KD,
Paul George, who else? Melo for a year, right?
Yeah, so those are some big egos there.
Yeah, for sure.
There's definitely some characters, to say the least.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he had Victor Oladipo, but I don't think he's much of a diva. So
yeah.
Now to move on to some other NBA news. Yesterday, there was a pretty solid game with the Nets and the Suns, with KD and Kyrie both being out. They both had injuries classified, like different injuries, but I really think it was just load management. They just have to put down an injury designation.
Yeah.
But, the Suns beat Harden and Nets, and it was a pretty close game. It went down to the wire. Harden almost rallied them back, but the Suns were able to pull it out.
I just genuinely think the Nets don't.
Oh wait, Nets won the game.
Oh, the Nets won?
Yeah, I flipped that. My bad.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
I mean, even the fact, like, say they would have lost by like 5 or 6 points, that would still be kind of like. That would be fine. They probably didn't even really care about winning this game. I genuinely think the Nets are the one team that do not care where they end up in the standings.
Yeah, definitely.
They do not care.
Because I feel like they like how they match up against anyone, so it doesn't really matter.
Especially in the East, like they're like, we could be a 4 or 5 seed. We don't care. We could once it comes playoff time, they're gonna turn on the Jets.
Because they can just overpower guys. Because literally yesterday, watching that game, it was a classic Houston Rockets game from when James Harden was before they had Chris Paul.
Yeah,
and it was just him. This is the classic James Harden game. He had the ball in his hands.
38, 11, and 7.
Yeah, he had the ball in his hands every possession. Either drawed a free throw, dished it out to the big man or the wing, or just pulled up.
Wow, the Nets. Yeah, they outscored the Suns 40-24 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, Harden had a big fourth quarter.
The Suns started out really good this year. I don't know if they've been tailing off a little bit, but they're kind of.
Oh, they're solid. They're 17-10. So
yeah. They have a pretty decent roster, honestly.
Yeah, Chris Paul always finds a way to make his team better, and they also had 2 really solid players when he got there anyway, like DeAndre Ayton and Devin Booker. But the compliment,
they have Jay Crowder now.
Yeah,
I see Cameron Payne on there.
Also,
Etuan Moore, two former Bulls legends.
You ask me. Yeah, I think Chris Paul was a great pickup for the Suns. That definitely put them into definitely being able to win a playoff series in the West.
I think you could say Chris Paul is one of the most underrated NBA players ever.
Oh yeah,
the impact that he's had on everywhere he's gone, he's made them a playoff team.
Easy first ballot Hall of Famer. I mean, no question in my mind.
Even like when he went to the Rockets, they're already a playoff team, but he just with Oklahoma City, I think he single-handedly kind of made them.
Yeah, him and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander literally dragged them.
They carried the team.
Yeah.
Which was crazy. And now with the Suns, I mean, the Suns were the last couple of years as a team, they've been pretty horrendous. And you throw in a guy like Chris Paul right now, 17-10, they're probably going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, you get a guy like Chris Paul to form a good backcourt with Devin Booker who can shoot the lights out. I mean, what else can you ask for? Getting a guy who can distribute the ball like that and create opportunities. And then DeAndre Ayton, a former number 1 overall pick who's only getting better. He's still very young.
Yeah.
Getting a guy who can dish the ball like that to him in the paint and get him in good positions. I don't see anywhere else where he could have gone where he could have made a bigger impact, honestly. I credit
it was a great pickup.
Yeah, I credit the Suns front office for doing something like that.
For sure.
That was a great thing. And then Mikal Bridges has also been solid on the wing for them.
Yep.
And they got a veteran like Jay Crowder to also
Yeah,
help solidify.
They have a pretty decent roster. Like, kind of, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're really going to surprise anybody in the playoffs or make that deep of a run, but I mean, just getting there for the Suns, that's a big step for them.
Exactly, because they're still pretty young. I know Chris Paul's a little older, but Ayton and Booker are very young, and so is Bridges. And they also have Cameron Johnson, who doesn't play a crazy amount yet, but I think he's a solid player.
Yep.
He'll end up being something.
So we'll see what happens with them.
Yeah. And then also with some Brooklyn Nets news. I feel like we're becoming a Brooklyn Nets podcast almost a little bit, but
they make so many moves. Like they remind me of the Lakers from last year or 2 years ago. You know?
Yeah, they signed a former Oklahoma City Thunder guard / forward Andre Roberson. I think that'll give them a good edge, honestly.
Yeah, I don't even know how to even describe him as a player.
Great defender. That's it.
Free throw shooter.
I can't.
He had
I can't
one of
say
the.
that.
I think did he have the lowest free throw percentage? I think in the entire league.
He was bottom 5. That's for sure.
Yeah.
He was definitely lowest for guards. I'll put it that way. I mean, him and DeAndre Jordan have been fighting over that title for a while now, I feel like.
Yeah.
He had some bad injuries in the past, but I think he could definitely provide some good depth on the wing for them, especially guarding some good guards in the playoffs, especially when they face like a team like the Celtics or something like that.
Yep.
I think putting him on like Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown would be good for them.
Yeah, I mean they're kind of just going throughout the season. They're kind of just shaping themselves for the playoffs. Like I said earlier, they couldn't care less where they end up in the standings as long as they make the playoffs.
They're definitely one of those teams that
I could really see them
want to go to.
Yeah, I could see them being like a 4 or 5 seed and then end up making the finals. You know?
Yeah, I've seen people say that the Celtics can stand up to them, but personally, I don't think so. I mean, I like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Don't get me wrong, but I don't see it. Like, I know Kemba's a solid player and all that, but I just don't think they have enough firepower.
And I don't see the Bucks or the Sixers kind of taking that next step either.
No,
you know?
the big reason for that is Ben Simmons not being able to shoot and Giannis not being able to shoot that well.
Yeah, and I mean Joel kind of. He's really good, but in the playoffs we've seen him kind of take a step back in big games.
Yeah, and they can focus more on him because
and that's what they did with Giannis in the playoffs.
Exactly,
too.
Because Ben Simmons can't shoot, so if you try to pass it off to him on the wing, what is he going to do? He's just going to drive into the paint anyway. So, I mean, they're just clogging it up, and he doesn't have that much room to operate.
Right.
And especially in the playoffs when the defense is tighter and the players are more locked in, that it's really tough. And then with Giannis, they just send everyone into the paint and basically make him shoot.
What is Giannis's salary looking like right now?
Massive, I believe. He's not. I don't think he's supermax level yet because, but he's over the 30s for sure. Never mind. He recently signed one in December. I forgot about that.
How long did they lock him up? 5 years?
5 year supermax worth 22.
Okay, because I know there was like rumors of the Bucks just trading him and the team kind of blowing up, but yeah, I don't. Honestly, as long as he's there for the next 5 years, I don't see them winning a title.
Yeah, I mean, they have solid pieces around him, but they need another superstar. I think he needs another superstar around him.
And that's what the NBA has kind of become. You know?
I mean, they have solid. I think they have. I mean, I guess you could call the other two guys stars, Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton, but they both.
They're definitely not superstars.
No,
though.
Yeah, definitely not. But they're good players. I'm not gonna say like but they get paid a lot of money. They definitely get paid what they're. I mean, I think they get paid a little over their pay grade, but that's just how the NBA is nowadays.
Yeah, the money in the NBA is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, if you're even like somewhat good in the NBA, you get paid like crazy. I mean,
Ben Simmons is making $29 million a year right now. I just looked it up. That's insane.
Yeah, I mean,
Joel's making 6.1.
Yeah, if you even like touch the All-Star game or even get considered for the All-Star game, you're making like almost $30 million, if not over $30 million a year in the NBA.
Let's see, Ben Simmons, it looks like he's signed up or he's locked in for a 5-year contract. I want to see when he's...
Yeah, because he was a restricted free agent. I believe he just re-signed with the Sixers.
Okay. Yeah, and I don't know. I feel like the Bucks and the Sixers are kind of in the same boat with
Yeah.
they're right there. They'll make the conference finals a few times, but if the Nets stay together like this for the next 3-4 years, nobody's gonna beat them.
Yeah, I think that the Sixers are more inclined to get rid of Ben Simmons than the Bucks are to get rid of Giannis.
Oh yeah.
Because don't get me wrong, I know Giannis is better than Ben Simmons, but I think they have the same issue, with not being able to shoot. I think that's so crucial to spacing for the rest of the team.
I feel like there was kind of rumors that Joel could leave too, right?
Yeah, there was a bunch of falling out rumors because they almost beat the Raptors.
Yep, that was Game 7 that happened,
ago.
right?
Yeah, and then once that happened, they've kind of had some turmoil in quotations, but
They're still. I mean, they're number 1 in the conference. They're a great team.
yeah,
but
it's just the playoff success hasn't really come yet because they run into some issues usually. But
I mean, they are
they're a
young
good team.
still.
Yeah, they're a good team. Don't get me wrong. I just don't see them going all the way.
I agree.
And actually having a chance if they somehow do.
I completely agree.
So, yeah, I mean, he was rumored. Ben Simmons was rumored in some of the James Harden trade talks. I mean, I don't know how true that was or anything like that, or if that was just Houston asking for that package and the Sixers refusing or what, but he was rumored. So
yeah, that's right. James Harden, that was one of his kind of destinations, right?
yeah, it was one of the. I mean, it was basically down to those two. Yeah, I mean, I think he landed in a better spot though.
I think so too. And I don't know. I could see the Nets winning, but Lakers, man, I think it's gonna be Nets Lakers this year. That's my prediction.
Yeah, I think so too. I think everyone in the NBA is just kind of waiting on that to happen. I'm
Yeah.
sure there's a few Celtics truthers out there. I mean, there's some Sixers probably too, but I don't see it.
And people are still saying the Clippers. I don't think they could with a healthy Lakers team. I don't think nobody in the West is really going to give them that much of a challenge.
Yeah, I mean, no one's stopping LeBron at this point.
And AD when he's healthy, he's one of the most unguardable players ever.
Exactly, and when you got LeBron pushing into the paint and then he just dumps it off to AD, I mean, who's stopping that dunk?
Nobody.
Let's be honest.
Nobody. Literally.
Yeah, or LeBron just takes it himself. Who's stopping him doing that? I mean, it's just an unstoppable combo, especially when either of them have their jump shot going or both of them.
Exactly.
I mean,
and AD just got hurt, but I don't think he's going to be out for that substantial time.
No, and they're one of those teams in the regular season. It really doesn't matter all that much.
No,
they got taken to OT a few times recently, and I saw people
People are saying they're worried.
Yeah, and I'm just like, come on. Let's be honest here. LeBron always is coasting in the regular season. There's no need to be worried. All you need to worry about is just them being able to stay healthy.
Exactly.
At this point.
And if they can go into the playoffs as a healthy team, I mean, I don't know. I don't even see the Nets really beating them in the finals this year at least.
It's tough. I really have to see them play head to head. I just try to picture that game playing out, and I just don't know how that goes.
I feel like there's going to be problems with the Nets when they get farther in the playoffs. Just who's going to get that ball? Because you literally have KD, Kyrie, and Harden, which is insane to even think of. Who gets that ball? You know?
Yeah.
Who gets that ball?
Yeah. I mean, I'm just thinking about.
I want KD with that ball.
Yeah,
I think out of the three of them. But,
me too.
I mean,
thinking about it like this, I think Harden might be the best passer out of all three of them. So maybe he takes the ball up, and then both of them just kind of get off-ball screens kind of set, and or they just get Joe Harris going too, because Joe Harris is kind of slept on in that starting lineup.
Can you imagine if he makes the championship-winning bucket because they're all expecting the ball to go to Kyrie or KD?
Steve Kerr, John Paxson.
Oh yeah, honestly, that could happen.
I can see that. I mean, he could shoot the lights out with anyone in the league. So.
Literally, a one shot like that just makes you a legend for that team forever.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I'd rather have him take that shot than Andre Roberson.
Or Iguodala. I want Iguodala.
Sure. That's for sure.
Oh yeah.
So we wanted to go with this little debate. Top 5 players in the NBA right now.
Mm-hmm. I added Steph to the list because he's been going off.
Yeah, I don't know how I forgot him, but yeah. Okay, so do you wanna give your 5 first, and then I'll.
You could go. You could go.
Okay. Well, I didn't really write this down off beforehand, but I'm just gonna do this really quick. Okay. First, I'm gonna go LBJ.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty easy. I mean, obviously there's gonna be people who just like to hate on LeBron, but
Just because.
yeah, I mean, it's pretty hard to argue otherwise at this point. Second, I'll go KD. Third, I'm gonna go AD.
Okay.
Fourth, I'll go Kawhi. And then fifth,
This is where it gets a little hard.
I guess I'll go Giannis.
Yeah.
Yeah. We could honestly go like top 8, but we'll just start with 4 for now, or 5.
Mm-hmm.
What do you have any other?
The only thing that
disagreements?
I wouldn't necessarily disagree, but I feel like AD and Kawhi are kind of interchangeable. Like
yeah,
you
definitely.
you could easily put Kawhi at 3 because when he's completely healthy and in the playoffs, I mean Kawhi is a fantastic performer.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's an argument for Kawhi being second here.
Yeah,
but
KD,
I don't believe
know, man.
so.
A healthy KD is dangerous.
Yeah, I personally definitely don't think that, but I could see an argument
and
for
KD's, I think he's the most unguardable NBA player ever. Like, period.
Yeah, I mean, he's just so lanky and quick and smooth with his handle.
It like physically doesn't make sense what he's able to do on the basketball court.
No, yeah, he can shoot over like 90% of the players in the league because of how quick he is with the shot and being able to just handle the ball, because there's big men that he could probably just like block his shot if they were able to keep up with him, but that's the problem. Nobody can keep up with him that size.
Exactly. Yeah, I think I'd go LBJ, then KD. I'd put Kawhi over AD, but they're kind of interchangeable. And then, yeah, I'd put Giannis because is he 2-time defending MVP? I believe so, right?
I believe so. Yeah. Okay. I mean, it's kind of hard not to put him in the top 5 just because his regular season stats are just outrageous. But I mean, the playoffs aren't all on him. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But it's definitely like kind of like a thing that might define his career after a while if he can't find success.
For me, I would have no problem with somebody replacing Giannis with Steph at the 5 because a healthy Steph Curry he's still a world-class player. I think a top 5 player in the league.
Exactly.
I think Steph's better than Harden right now, honestly. I don't think Harden makes that top 5. What do you think?
I think, personally, I would have Harden at 6.
Yeah.
Or Luke. I don't know. I want to put Luka Doncic somewhere in there. I really do, but I just can't fit him in just yet.
I was about to say just yet. He's so young. His skills are just ridiculous, and I mean, there's no limit honestly to his potential,
definitely.
but I feel like he hasn't done enough yet. And that's not his fault, but he just hasn't been in the league that long.
It's crazy how overlooked Dame Lillard has been.
Oh yeah, he's one of my favorites.
I know, it's ridiculous like how stacked the NBA is at this point.
People I don't know, like they kind of slander Damian Lillard because of the lack of like Portland's ability to perform in the playoffs, but he single-handedly has to put the team on his back for them to even have a chance or to win a series.
Yeah, because CJ McCollum, he has those games where he shows up, but then he also has games where he tails off a little bit.
Yeah.
But they also don't have much help on the wing. They haven't had help on the wing like literally their whole tenure. They had like Al-Farouq Aminu. That's like the best they've had.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I mean,
and the only other like really great player they had at one point in this like Damian Lillard era was LaMarcus Aldridge, who was really good, but I mean he hasn't been there for 5+ years. So
yeah, and there's only so much a post player can do to impact the game at this point.
Exactly.
It just keeps getting like the game keeps stretching out farther and farther.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, Dame. I mean you could throw Dame near that top 5, put him right around 7. I think Steph. Oh man.
Yeah, I think there's an argument for Dame at 5 for sure, but I don't think he's there. But I think there's definitely an argument.
Yeah, I wouldn't think that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Him and Steph they're pretty like similar around how valuable they are in the league right now.
Personally, I'd take Steph, but
just because of experience and I mean ability to perform. But
and I think his crazy shot making is just better than Dame's, even though Dame has crazy shot making. Yeah,
bro, he just pulls up from like the next town over.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I think Dame's a little more streaky than Steph is, though. I think Steph's just like a night in, night out. Like he might have some bad shooting nights, but he's more consistent than Dame usually.
Yeah, he's a huge difference maker.
Yeah, I mean,
and I feel like the only reason Steph's caught any flack is because of the skill around him. I mean, that's not his fault, you know? I mean, he won back-to-back MVPs with having Clay, with having Draymond on the team still, you know? And then when KD goes there, I mean, how do you even say, like, oh, you know what, well, you get a guy like KD, Steph, you know, he's getting all these championships, but he's still, honestly, when he's healthy, he's the best point guard in the league.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think I don't even know if it's cool to hate Steph Curry anymore because that was like a trend before. So now like people actually, I think people should start to respect it more. Yeah, I don't know.
I just genuinely never understood that.
It was just the Warriors, and it was a cool thing to hate the Warriors.
Yeah, because they were great, and
yeah.
His style of play, believe it or not, it single-handedly changed the game.
Oh yeah, I mean, kids are like shooting 3-pointers nowadays. Before,
because of Steph Curry.
Yeah, exactly. Dunking used to be cool. Well, dunking's still cool a little bit, but dunking used to be like the thing, and now it's shooting 3-pointers.
I mean, look at somebody like Blake Griffin. In an interview, he said he because of the way the NBA is going, he's like developed a 3-pointer. Yeah. He hasn't dunked in over a year. I mean, that's partly due to injuries, but that's just the way that the game is going.
Yeah,
you know?
he plays close to the ground now. I mean, before he was all dunk, and now he's just chucking threes.
And that's another situation going on with him. I don't think he's playing for the Pistons right now because they're evaluating his playing situation.
Yeah.
And that happened with Andre Drummond too, right?
Yep. I mean, I guess that's smart. If he gets hurt, they're kind of like screwed out of the package. But
yeah, Draymond wasn't too happy with that. He had I think it was like a 3 or 4 minute press conference where he kind of gave his opinion. And I see where they're coming from, but at the end of the day, it is a business, you know?
Yeah. I mean, as long as he's still getting paid, that's to each his own. I mean, I'm sure he doesn't really care all that much because they aren't going anywhere, and I'm sure he'd rather get traded to a team that's probably trying to contend anyway.
Right.
So he's just cool with it, and it's Detroit. Like, let's be honest, he's probably doesn't care that much about being there.
Exactly. So. Yeah, I'd agree. So yeah, top 5, I'd say LeBron, KD, Kawhi, AD, and Giannis. I mean, there's a couple guys you can move around, interchange. The top, I mean, LeBron's the best player in the world, you know?
Yeah.
I don't think that's really up for debate.
I think we're basically on the same page here. All we had was I had AD in front of Kawhi and you had Kawhi in front of AD. Yep. I mean, that's pretty easy argument. Well, it's a pretty tough argument to make, like either way. I mean, they're both great players.
Yeah, they're just all-time studs, honestly.
Yeah, exactly. And
we can move into the Anthony Edwards. That was a funny moment.
Yeah. So Anthony Edwards has been quoted many times saying that his childhood idol was LeBron, and like many others, of course. And yesterday during a game, he had LeBron guarding him in the half court. And he pulls up and he shoots a 3, and LeBron puts his hand up and he hits the 3 over him. And as he's running back on defense, he has a big smile on his face, and you can't even hold it in.
I was about to say, he could not stop smiling. He was so excited. Even the announcers were like, "This is the moment he's gonna remember for the rest of his life," and as well he should. I mean,
yeah, it was
that's a big moment.
It was kind of like that Allen Iverson kind of hitting that crossover
on MJ.
Yeah, it was that kind of moment.
Yeah.
It's always cool to see stuff like that happen.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Especially for a kid being 20 years old.
I wonder. I don't know if they asked LeBron about that or if he noticed that post game. Did they?
I'm sure he saw it on social media, but I didn't see any press conference or anything like that with him talking.
Yeah, it's just it's. I mean, Anthony Edwards. Was he a one and done?
Yeah.
So he's probably 19, 20 years old. I mean,
he is. He's
yeah, that's cool, man.
Anthony Edwards is the kind of guy you want to root for sure. He's a cool guy. You can tell.
Yeah, big moment, and it's just it's nice seeing stuff like that just over your childhood idol. I mean, that is something you're gonna remember for the rest of your career.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing anyone could dream over.
Exactly.
So today marks Michael Jordan's 58th birthday.
Yes.
And he is what many consider, including us, the greatest player of all time.
Yeah.
Sorry, LeBron fans out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's just hard to even evaluate LeBron until he's done because with the Lakers, I mean, he just won the championship last year, and up to this point, he's made what, 10 finals? I believe, something around there.
Something like that.
You can't you can't have a losing record in the finals. I don't care who you are or what situation you've been in, and be
Yeah.
the GOAT, you know?
My argument is, well, of course LeBron's gonna have all the cumulative stats by the time he's done because
He's
Michael Jordan
played
took those,
more games.
Yeah, because
he's already played more games.
He's took those breaks. MJ took those breaks and all that stuff for reasons that don't really matter. And but my argument is that at both of their peak, I think Michael Jordan was a better player.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just look at their numbers, like now even, Michael Jordan was the best defender in the league.
I think he has, I want to say he has the highest points per game all time of any player.
Yeah, I mean,
And to be arguably the best scorer ever, I think he is, just because like points per game, that's all you really need to look at.
yeah,
You could have the most, I mean, Kareem played probably how many more seasons worth of games than MJ did. That's the only reason that he's first all time in points.
Yeah.
You got to look at points per game. And Jordan, with only playing the amount of seasons that he did, he has the most first team all defense ever. Like,
Yeah,
that's unheard
exactly.
of. To be the best offensive player and defensive player in the league at the same time, nobody else has ever done that.
Exactly. I mean, I would say KD's the best pure scorer, but I think MJ's actually the best scorer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if you just check the numbers, that's what
it makes sense. It sounds like it. I know what you're saying.
Yeah, because if you ask one guy to go out and score one bucket, I would ask Kevin Durant. But over like a full season or a full career, like Michael Jordan.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, there's that, like when he was in his 40s in Washington, he was still putting up buckets, you know.
Exactly.
And to be able to walk away from the game for a year and a half and come back to be the best, like nothing happened. I don't know if anybody else could do that, you know?
Yeah, he wasn't even playing shape when he came back, and he was still putting up like 20 a game.
And there were stories about him coming back to like Bulls practices after he left the team, and he was just smoking the younger players. Like, even after he retired, it hadn't been working out or anything. Like, he just comes back and he just makes a fool out of everybody, you know?
Yeah, it was outrageous how like crazy talented he was at some points.
Not like from a stat standpoint, but just like the mindset that he had compared to somebody like I don't want to say LeBron's soft, but the competitive drive that Michael Jordan had, I don't think we've ever seen from anybody before.
No, I mean, the only person you could ever say that ever was anything close to that was Kobe.
Yep.
But literally Kobe attributed to everything that he modeled his game after was to MJ.
Yeah,
So
and MJ, he said he was like the only person that could beat me in a one-on-one's Kobe because he stole all my moves. You know?
Exactly. He used to call him all the time. They used to talk. I mean, yeah, he was a very good friend to him. So.
Yeah, and I don't know, 6 for 6 in the NBA Finals, 5 league MVPs. Jordan's just, and the impact that he had on the game. I don't think anybody from any sport has had that big of an impact on a sport.
No, I think till this day.
You could throw Tiger Woods in there with golf, but I mean, Jordan was literally a worldwide icon.
Yeah, he transcended the sport.
Yeah, he transcended sports in general, and I don't know. I think if you're even to like talk about the GOATs of any sport, I think he is the GOAT's GOAT. Like he is the GOAT athlete.
The only one you can make an argument for is Tom Brady now.
Yeah.
But I still think it's MJ.
Yeah, just because I think even solely off impact, you know.
Yeah, he had the highest peak you can have. I mean,
people would literally
rarely loses like that.
People would go to games like rooting for the away team, but they'd go just to see MJ. Like, you don't see that anymore. You know?
I mean, Bulls tickets to away games and home games were sellouts instantly.
Just because of one guy. Like,
yeah,
they had a circus show kind of going there for a little bit with Scotty and Rodman, but MJ was just like,
he was so locked in he didn't even care.
Yeah.
Like, and he was gonna be intense either way.
Yeah, it's almost like I don't know if we'll ever see that again with a player, at least in the NBA, just with the direction it's kind of going.
No.
And because it's like these guys obviously still want to win, but it's a much friendlier league.
No, yeah, they're all
less aggressive.
They're all hanging out in the off season and being like, and they're all networking and stuff like that and talking over social media, and I don't know, and everyone plays on each other's team now, so it's not really the same.
There's no like staying with an organization and really trying to grind it out. Like, you see that with Dame Lillard, but like,
yeah, there's only a few guys.
They even guys that tend to do that don't really figure it out. Like
Yeah.
Jordan
Giannis.
figured it out, for the Bulls. He stuck it out and he stayed there and until they were the best team in the league.
Yeah, there's another argument out there. LeBron had to leave Cleveland at first.
Yeah, he did come back and win one, but I don't know. He was 1 for 4 coming back, so
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna hate on him too much though.
He didn't have a
the
ton of
first
help.
time. Yeah, I was just kind of throwing that out there, but I think that was a little unfair, I guess. But I don't know. I think MJ is just the undisputed GOAT.
Yeah.
Honestly, I mean, of course there's gonna be LeBron people out there, but I just think LeBron's a clear number 2. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. He's still an amazing
he's
player.
clearly the number 2, and
Yeah.
I mean. When all's said and done, who knows? I mean, if LeBron plays until he's in his early 40s and picks up 3 or 4 more championships, he could be the GOAT. Like, there's,
Yeah, definitely, I can see that. Yeah.
but as of right now, 100% it's Michael Jordan.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah. So that should do it for this episode of the Glacier Guys. You can access the link to the SoundCloud and YouTube on the Glacier website, and the library will also post it to their channels. And we'll see you guys next time.